What's up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. All right, so here's the situation we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Tropical Storm Melissa. Things have really been blowing up since last night. We have a huge burst of convection, two technically huge bursts of convection that blew up last night. This one over here to the west is far more concentrated, and that is the possible new center that will be forming soon, as there is a potential relocation of its center considerably further to the south from what I've talked to my tropical team about and from what other meteorologists both at the NHC and outside of the NHC have been looking at as well. So we have a lot to talk about with you today. Things are about to really start going off with Melissa, and we're going to go ahead and dive into all of it right here. So starting off, this is Tropical Storm Melissa. Here's the situation that we have for you right here. It's currently pretty much stalled out in this part of the Caribbean. It's pretty much stalled in the Central Caribbean over here. So we can go ahead and show you the public advisory. Maximum sustained winds are at 45 miles per hour. They were at 50 the last time we recorded this. They dropped down to 45 yesterday. All right, here, so 45 miles per hour may seem like, oh, it's weakening right now, but this is a scary 45 miles per hour with the conditions it has ahead of it. The shear has started to decrease, and we're seeing a lot more moisture because of this convection that's been blowing up. So things are about to go haywire, ladies and gentlemen. It is moving at 1 mile per hour. It's literally moving at a snail's pace at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's pretty much stalling, which it technically is, but that's what we're dealing with. And the minimum central pressure is actually pretty low, 1,001 millibars for a 45 mile per hour system. So we're going to want to watch and see how this happens. But we have hurricane watches in effect for the southwest portion of Haiti from the border of the DR to Port-au-Prince and Jamaica. And now a tropical storm warning for both of those areas as well. Hurricane watch means hurricane conditions are possible within 48 hours. Tropical storm warning means tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 36 hours. So that's something that we're going to want to pay attention to, especially maximum sustained winds have expanded actually down out to 140 miles from the center. Minimum central pressure 1,001 millibars caught by Hurricane Hunter aircraft. And as we show you the discussion for right here, this is what we got for you, ladies and gentlemen. For all intents and purposes, Melissa is nearly stationary over the north central Caribbean Sea. The estimated center has been drifting a bit based on the Scattermirror data from last evening. Why last evening? Just say last night. But with wind direction data from the current buoy also suggesting that the circulation could still be a little bit elongated. There are several deep convective bursts embedded with the overall cloud canopy, although banding features are not particularly well defined at the moment. An Air Force reconnaissance mission should get a more accurate estimate of Melissa's center. There's actually recon out currently right now with the maintained wind speed at 40 knots, which is 45 miles per hour. So that's what we actually have. We actually do have recon out there right now taking a quick gander at this. So here's what you have with your reconnaissance. They found a pressure of 1,002 millibars. They've also been sampling this area over here underneath the convective burst. So that's something to pay attention to as well, but they are finding flight level winds around 50 knots, I would say, with SFMR readings around 60 knots, so that'll be definitely something to watch out for and to pay attention to going forward. But they have been putting out dropsons, at least kind of near the center of circulation. They've been doing all of that as well, so we're definitely going to want to pay attention to it moving forward. But it does look like, based on what I'm seeing, yeah, it looks like the center has relocated a little bit further to the south based on what we're seeing with recon right now. We're going to want to pay attention to this going forward, but ultimately, yeah, this is going to be a pretty crazy situation that moving forward. So that's what we have with reconnaissance. We're going to go ahead and go back to the discussion and take a quick gander at this right here. Strong wind shear continues to affect Melissa, but there are some indications that it could gradually decrease over the next 24 to 36 hours. At the same time, high ocean E content values are stronger, and stronger upper level divergence should help induce some strengthening. There's a fairly strong agreement along the intensity models for a forecast of rapid intensification that could begin in about 24 hours, and the NHC forecasts Melissa to become a hurricane in 36 hours. Although this is an aggressive forecast given Melissa's current structure, several models are even stronger than the NHC's forecast at that forecast time. There is less model agreement on Melissa's intensity after 48 hours. In order to maintain continuity with the previous forecasts, the NHC prediction is near the top end of the guidance, close to the Google DeepMind ensemble mean. Other models are flattening out or decreasing intensity after 48 hours. That is likely due to mainly land interaction possibilities. So, ladies and gentlemen, take a quick look at this. 4 days out, the NHC is forecasting this to be a 145 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane. That is more than triple what its current intensity is right now, and that is expected to happen in a 96-hour time frame. Next 24 hours, it's forecast to get up to 65 miles per hour. Hurricane, Category 2 hurricane by 48 hours, 72 hours Category 4, and 145 is the new peak based on the NHC. Though, despite this, the structure still taking its time organizing, which ultimately is making it look better and better in the long run, the NHC is still upping up their intensity estimates right now, and that is a very scary situation we are dealing with. I've said this before, 45 miles per hour may not seem like much, but it's a scary 45 miles per hour based on the conditions we have ahead. So here is the cone for you guys right here. It's going to start making that turn towards the west sooner rather than later, and expect to become a hurricane and then a major hurricane as it then swings around towards Jamaica right here. Jamaica, you guys are actually very close in the line of fire. If this system ends up shifting more so towards the east and heads towards Jamaica, that could be very problematic for you guys. Even if the system just explodes into a Category 5, God forbid that happens, Jamaica is going to be very badly impacted by this. And not just Jamaica, eastern and central Cuba are also going to be really hammered by this. Same with the Bahamas. So we're going to want to pay attention to how this will all pan out going forward. And we have just a lot of parameters that we're going to want to pay attention to and keep updated moving forward. But one thing to note is a lot of the tropical storm force winds are on the eastern side. It still needs to take its time to consolidate and battle that shear. Once that shear continues to start weakening, then we're going to have all things breaking loose. All hell is going to break loose with Melissa sooner rather than later. 45 miles per hour is right now, it's a scary 45 miles per hour, and that's pretty much the general gist we're seeing with Melissa. So here is your satellite imagery. We're going to go ahead and give you a quick gander at this. Satellite imagery is really impressive still with the amount of convection that is bursting right now. You are seeing potentially maybe a center starting to pop up over here in this area right here, starting to notice a little bit more rotation starting in that area that we're paying attention to. Definitely going to want to keep a very close eye on that as well. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and go to Dapia. By the way, I apologize for the flashing lights. There will be, this is a seizure warning to those prone to those very quickly, but here is your infrared right here. My goodness, this has just really been blowing up over the last like 12 to 24 hours especially. Things have really gone haywire, and even into this morning we're going to want to pay attention to it. And you're definitely starting to see this continuing to blow up. You're seeing minus 90 cloud tops going up and down in a lot of these areas right here that you're going to want to pay attention to. That is very concerning, and that's just telling you just how powerful this system is about to be. It's telling us, hey, once you take this shear off of me, I'm gonna explode. You're gonna want to watch out for me. So if you're watching from Jamaica, if you're watching from southwestern Haiti, if you're watching from Cuba or the Bahamas, start preparing. I kid you not, this is about to be a very powerful storm, and it's likely going to be a very powerful storm in the next 48 hours. So take the weekend to prepare. Don't be scared. Start preparing for a very, very powerful hurricane if you're in Jamaica and Cuba especially. This is about to take off. I've been saying it for the last few days. The longer it's waiting, the better the conditions are going to get. And now that we have pretty much a situation where the trough has mostly passed and now the ridge is starting to build in, it's going to start moving to the west at that rate, and it's going to start making that drive towards even better water temperatures and even better wind shear, even better moisture, and really take off in the next 48 hours. So that is something that we continue to watch and continue to pay attention to right here. Here are your track models, and here's the intensity with them as well. Track models, things are continuing to be very concerning. right here, a lot of the track models at 12Z are forecasting the system to potentially make landfall in Jamaica as a very powerful storm, and then make landfall in Cuba right after that, which, if that were the case, that would be the worst case scenario in this regard, because maybe landfall will weaken the storm a little bit, but it's going to cause havoc across much of Jamaica, across much of Cuba, across much of the Bahamas as well. This is a worst case scenario nightmare that we're witnessing right here. So that's something that we're going to want to pay attention to and continue to keep an eye on at this current point at this current point in time. But right now, if these track models hold, this would be a worst case scenario based on the current guidance. Intensity guidance definitely not nearly as aggressive as what we've seen previously, with a lot of models going Cat 5, Cat 5, Cat 5. The reason for this is mainly because the land interaction possibility with Jamaica. Yes, this system's going to rapidly intensify. Yes, there's still a very high ceiling with this, but what isn't known is A, the system going to make landfall in Jamaica, and B, if it does, how much is it going to weaken it, and how fast is it going to move over the island? If it moves over the western tip of Jamaica, the eye that is, it's not going to weaken it that much. But if it moves maybe more in the west central part of the island, the mountains definitely could disrupt the structure quite a bit more. So that's some things that we need to take into consideration, and we're going to want to take into account. But that is our ceiling right here, ladies and gentlemen. I would argue Cat 5 is the ceiling with this, mainly because of just how good the conditions are with this, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Melissa is about to take off, and the intensity models are screaming at us saying, hey, this is about to go off. You're going to want to prepare. Take this very, very seriously. That's what these models are screaming right here. And not just the hurricane models, it's also the operational runs that are screaming this as well. The European model, for example, this system's going to continue to take its time to consolidate, but in the next 24 hours, the European is forecasting pretty much by tonight, this is going to be a 998 millibar system, starting to strengthen and consolidate. And then as we get to 36 hours, as we get to tomorrow morning, we're now at a Category 1 hurricane as it moves slowly to the west off the coast of Jamaica, and it only continues to intensify. 974 millibars, Category 2 hurricane by Saturday afternoon. And then by the time we get to Sunday morning, we're still at Category 2, then really blows up on between Sunday and Monday into potentially Category 3 right here. This is by Monday morning, a Category 3 hurricane, then Category 4, and potentially a Category 5 hurricane making landfall in Jamaica, according to the European. This is on Tuesday afternoon right here. You are absolutely going to want to prepare for this if you are in Jamaica, if you're in Cuba, and you're in the Bahamas. That's something I have to stress enough. Makes landfall in the west central part of Jamaica, and then it moves towards Cuba as a Category 3 or 4 hurricane as it makes landfall in east central Cuba, and then moves over parts of the Bahamas. The Turks and Caicos especially is what the Europeans forecasting a bit more now, and it remains a major hurricane until it becomes an extratropical cyclone by November 2nd. So that's what you're dealing with from the European model, and the reason we're going to start seeing this strengthening is, like I said, we're seeing a decrease in wind shear. You're seeing that happen right now throughout the day. You're going to see wind shear continue to decrease and go down, down, down as the system starts to shift more to the west, as the trough and the ridge start to lift up more, and as the system starts to really take full advantage of that. And not just that, this wind shear right here is also going to help enhance the outflow and really help it consolidate and really help it organize. So that's something that you're going to need to consider and something you're going to need to pay attention to, because that trough angle is going to allow for the system to really just whip and really rapidly intensify at a very alarming and arguably historic rate, as I said in the previous video on Wednesday. So that's what we're dealing with right here. And as it gets into the Caribbean over here in the deep Caribbean waters, over 175 OHC. Look at that trough right here. Look at that ridge building up right here. This is by 5 days out. This is by October 28th. So this is by Tuesday. Look at this right here. That is primed for rapid intensification. Very primed. No shear around the system in general. The shear that's there is going to easily catch the outflow and really enhance that especially. So that's something you're going to want to pay attention to. The European has been screaming about this for days. It's been telling us this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Get prepared, get prepared, get prepared. And not just the European has been screaming this, even the Canadian run has also been screaming about this as well, making a close pass to Jamaica, rapidly intensifying as it moves out to the Caribbean. It is quite a bit more conservative than the European, but at this point, the Canadian's always been the more conservative run, but making landfall in central Cuba and then the Bahamas as well, that's something you're going to want to pay attention to right there. But now we can go ahead and show you the hurricane runs. We'll start with the H-Wharf, then the H-Mon, the HAVS runs as well. So let's go ahead and take a quick gander at this. Here's the main sea level pressure and 10-meter winds. This system, it continues to consolidate and organize, and then by the time we get to tomorrow morning is when things really start to turn up. It starts to really blow up in intensity. The H-Wharf having it at Category 3 strength by Sunday afternoon, and then really blowing up right there, maybe undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle, and then kind of making a close pass to the Cayman Islands before heading towards Cuba as a Category 4 hurricane. Mid to high end, Category 4 is the forecast, makes landfall in Cuba, then it becomes a major hurricane, moves through a lot of the Bahamas right here, and that's what the H-Wharf is currently forecasting right now. That's the H-Wharf. Here is your H-Mon. H-Mon has the system starting to organize and develop and then strengthen quite a bit after 24 hours. So pretty much by tomorrow afternoon, by the time you see this video, is when things really start to turn up with the H-Mon and things really start to blow up with the OHC taking more advantage, taking more advantage of. Thank you very much, Patrick. You corrected yourself. But major hurricane strength by Sunday night, and then Category 4 strength by Monday morning, and this is what your H-Mon is going for. 926 millibars, 924 actually, before undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle and then starting to really expand its size as a Category 4, makes landfall in Cuba, and emerges as a Category 2 hurricane and makes landfall in multiple islands on the Bahamas right there. So that's going to be our storm of the year. Here is your HAVS A run. Right here in the next 24 hours, it's expected to consolidate. Okay, that HAVS A is having a little bit of initialization problems, but by 48 hours out, really starts to ramp up in intensity right here, really just starts ramping up as we get to hurricane strength, Category 2, major hurricane strength by 4 days out. As well, 932 millibar system as it heads towards Jamaica, makes landfall there as a pretty strong system. 934 millibars. The HAVS A is actually among one of the slower models, which I do find is pretty interesting. Then we can go ahead and show you the HAVS B run. HAVS B has the system, okay, I don't know what it's doing, but finally it finds a center, has it really starting to ramp up in intensity. Category 4 hurricane by the time we get to Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. And then this really starts to ramp up and really starts to head towards the island. 150 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane as it makes landfall in Jamaica right there. So you're going to want to pay attention to how this will pan out. And take a look at this pressure right here that you're going to want to pay attention to. Take a look at this pressure. Okay, I'm getting some stuff in my inbox. I apologize for that. 929 millibars. These are all very low pressures. They're not the sub 900s we've seen before, but I honestly would not rule them out as long as the system stays out to sea. We'll have to pay attention to see what happens, but regardless, every scenario here appears that Jamaica is going to get some sort of impacts, whether it's a landfall, hurricane force winds, an eyewall clipping. They're going to get some sort of major impacts from this. And that really is a gut wrench to me right there, because a lot of our viewers here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel are from Jamaica. And if you're watching this from Jamaica, I need to ask you to do two things for me. Number one, get prepared for this system. If you're anywhere in the island, get prepared for the system. And two, share this video with your friends, with your family, with everyone you know that lives on the island. This just goes for everyone here watching this. If you know family, if you know friends, if you know other people in Jamaica, share this video. Let them know, get the word out. They need to prepare. This system is about to explode in a way we have not seen in a very long time. With that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. If you'd like to help out, hang out, or ask us some questions, please feel free to join the Storms United Discord server. Matter of fact, if you're from Jamaica and you want to ask us some more questions about this system, join the Storms United Discord server. We have a tropical team that can give you the latest information for that. So that way you can let people know what's going on. So we would really appreciate if you came on. With that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.